Welcome back. It's week 3 and the challenge is black and white. I have to take a black and white photo in the usually colorful and always beautiful island of Mauritius. I love the black and white challenge. It strips away the color and you can purely focus on composition, emotion and so on. The problem is taking a photo that is really done justice by being only black and white. Before we get to the planning and research of this week's photo, I want to take a quick trip back on memory lane. In 2012, we visited the island of Mauritius for the first time as a family. Annika and Tani then took us to a spectacular spot, the blowhole and the natural bridge. At that time, I haven't taken up photography yet. All of them took photos and I just sat back and had a drink. Since then, I've never been back there. So, back to this week's photo. The research and planning then for this week's photo was uncomplicated. Well, let's be honest, it was non-existent. I knew I wanted to go back to that spot. I've never been back since I started taking photos. And I knew the black volcanic rock would make an excellent subject for the black and white theme of this week. The most planning we did was figuring out when we'll go, since we had to navigate flight schedules, cyclones, and school. Thus, I couldn't really be picky about the time of day. Although I knew it would be black and white, so the softer light didn't really bother me, and actually I preferred the harder light, which could create a bigger contrast, making for an interesting black and white. How I will take the photo, I thought I'll figure out there. I haven't been there in 11 years, 12 years, and I can't remember exactly what it looked like. So I thought I'll just get there and figure it out once on location. We arrived on location fairly late, around 2 or 3 hours after sunrise. Not the ideal shooting conditions for any landscape photographer, but as mentioned earlier, I didn't really mind since it's going to be black and white in any case. The sea was quite rough and dirty, but that didn't really matter. Once again, black and white. You won't see the color of the ocean. I had 3 challenges during the shoot. Composition. Landscape isn't exactly my strong point. I'm still practicing, but feel like my dad is doing a much better job and finding that compositions in a vast landscape. My other obstacle was deciding between fast shutter speed and slow shutter speed. But luckily, that's part of playing around and I didn't mind trying both to see which one worked best for me. The last and the biggest problem was the sun. On that black volcanic rock, it was heating us and we forgot our sunblock. At this point, I would like to give a quick shout out to Annika, who stood next to me the entire time with an umbrella, preventing the sun burning my fair skin. She even stood quite close to the cliff for somebody who's got a huge fear of heights. So thank you for that, I really appreciate it. I decided to go for the more misty looking long exposure photo. Apart from the basic edits, a bit of color grading and the correct black and white profile, I did a lot of local adjustments. In my opinion, local adjustments is Lightroom's superpower. It gives you the ability to pinpoint a smaller part of the photo and edit that part. This gave this photo the ability to bring out the texture in the dark rocks, especially in the dark shadows, and to soften a bit the harsh highlights in the clouds and in the ocean. Although landscape is still not my strong point, I am fairly happy with this photo. And the little bit of blue tint I brought to the shadows and the midtones just gives it a little bit of pop, even though it's still black and white. Here's a few other photos I edited that I took during that morning. Let me know which one is your favorite. I would like to give a quick shout out to Annika, Tani, and the Ford Ranger for taking me off the beaten track to make this week's photo a possibility. Thank you so much for your time and efforts. I appreciate it. For next week's challenge, it's to take a photo that looks like it's a scene out of a movie, where I'll use Peyton, my niece, to assist me for this one. Join me next week to see what we come up with. Till then, goodbye.